still on the Charles Coleman podcast. Super excited about our Black Brilliance conversation, where we have luminaries from every space to have conversations about all kinds of things. We're going to get right into it. I ain't going to waste no time. Y'all already know what it is. But if you don't, really quickly, do yourself a favor. Make sure you are liking on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you are sharing. If you are streaming us wherever podcasts are heard, whether that's Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, Pandora, we own all of that. We everywhere like air. The Charles Coleman Podcast, your new home for Black Brilliance. Look, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have a luminary with us. I don't even really want to use the word legend. We got royalty with us. And today we're going to spell royalty because of what she's wearing with the RHO. Shout out to the Pretty Poodles on the 100 years. Some know her as a poet. Some know her as a DJ. Some know her as an author. Some know her as a host. Some know her as a speaker. But if you really, really know what time it is, you know her as Lana from Brooklyn. She is the one, the only. We got MC LYTE in the house, y'all. She's in the building. Super excited.
Thank you.
Really, really excited. So much to talk about. But first and foremost, I have to give a shout out from the Bruz to the SG Rose. Happy Centennial. Happy for that. Congratulations. I saw you out there in Indiana doing your thing. How was that?
Thank you.
How was that?
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, to have all those people there for the same purpose, like-minded individuals, specifically women, sorors, sisterhood was at an all-time high. And, you know, Indiana actually just gets a little more pretty every time I go.
That's what's up. Good to hear it. You know, right now, there is a space where, you know, social media, which wasn't a thing in 88, it wasn't a thing in 92, it wasn't a thing for a very long time, allows you the space to, as an artist, as an entertainer, as someone who's a public figure, to connect directly with your audience in ways that previously were much more challenging. Previously, it was like I had to go to a concert, or I had to go to a show, or I had to go to a book signing and hope that I saw you and hope that, you know, that was that. But at the same time, it also encourages like a certain level of, for newer cats, a certain level of like messiness because of clout chasing and trying to be sort of relevant and stay in that space. Do you ever think the value of, would you ever trade that? Like, would you ever put social media, if it meant that it was going to, you know, be involved, this messiness that it usually does, would you ever prefer to put that back in, you know, 89, 88, 91, 92, 93, if it would have allowed you to connect directly with your fans globally? Or are you like, yo, you know what, I'm good, I didn't necessarily need that?
Yeah, no, I think the way that it is, your line, it is what it is. You know, it wasn't there and we made do. And I imagine if it were, you know, it would have been a lot different for a lot of us that were out in the, you know, late 80s, early 90s, even for those who came out in the 70s. I mean, to have a worldwide access to send a thought, a message, a picture, you know, any of those things out into the ether and have all of these people receive a communication from you, by far is extreme power. However, I think humble beginnings is the way it was meant for hip hop and for a lot of other talent that may have been, you know, rocking the block at one time, be it comedy or choreography or, you know, DJing, all of the elements of hip hop. They were great in their communities, in their neighborhoods, and then sort of had this natural progression of moving out into their city, state, and then the surrounding states. I think it's something to be said for a slow grind.
I agree with you.
And real, you know, the reality of it. It's not like all these numbers where people can just click a button and say they're involved and they're participating. In our day, people had to get up, go out, and show up to a concert in order to really say, I'm in this and I'm a true fan. Now you can't really tell.
Or even right, like so I have this conversation about streaming, right? Like even the idea that back in whatever, you had to get up on Tuesday, hit Sam Goody, hit Crazy Eddie, hit wherever it was, and actually buy a cassette, actually go and purchase an album. Where as opposed to, and that is part and parcel what fandom looked like at that time, as opposed to like, yo, I can really just press a button
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I listen to the album, maybe I don't. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna get it anyway because I pay one price per month to get as much music as I want.
Mm-hmm.
So whether I like the album, whether I listen to it again, really doesn't matter. There's a different level, in my opinion, of commitment when you actually get up and you decide like, yo, I'm going to the store and I'm going to get this CD, or I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to get this LP, I'm going to get this vinyl,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very different.
Yeah, no, absolutely it is. And now, some of the mystery is gone. There are even artists that I may hear, and because I'm unfamiliar with their work, I may have purchased a ticket to go see them. Now it's really easy to, oh, who is this? Go to IG, go to Twitter, go to, oh, let me hear some more of the music, go to spot, go to any of the platforms. Oh, okay, maybe they have a video. Go to the YouTube, see the video.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I feel like I know now.
Right. And, it's interesting because there are a number of things about that I find troubling. A lot of it has to do with the way that we consume music and the way that music is made now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no buffer in terms of putting out music and where it is. The other thing is, and that cuts both ways. It could be a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the demand for you to build a buzz before you are looked at by a label, because of the fact that labels are looking for sort of prepackaged artists, require that you have so much content out there. So you're right. It is something where like to experience an artist before, you heard their single, maybe you waited for the album, and then when they was working the album on tour doing shows, you would go check them and
Mm-hmm.
then really see what they was about. Now, like you said, you had to do all that. You have to do all that stuff as an artist on the front end to build a buzz, to get those followers, to sort of get your numbers up. Where the label is like not as concerned with talent as they are concerned with whatever numbers you're putting up beforehand before they really want to mess with you, which I think is very problematic. And another thing that it does, I find, is that it really encourages people who do not know how to perform. They could do videos, they could do social media, but a lot of these people have really, really weak, if not altogether whack stage shows. Their
Mm-hmm.
stage game is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like awful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you ever feel like, because here's the thing, I'm having this continued conversation with a bunch of people about, I call it aging out of hip hop, no country for old men, no country for old MCs. I don't want to be genderist or sexist, so I won't limit it to men. But do you ever have a feeling that as we continue to age through hip hop and as hip hop continues to age with us, that people sort of want to or apply a certain level of pressure to keep your art or where they encountered you
Mm-hmm.
into a space and not allow your art to sort of like transition, like, yo, guess what, I'm doing other stuff now, I'm writing books, I'm doing this, I'm doing that? Like, do you ever feel that pressure because of their nostalgia, that they want to sort of keep you in a space?
No, not as it relates to other types of art forms. I think I
Okay.
feel that mostly in the space of music.
Yeah, all right.
They want to hear me on a certain type of track. They want to relegate my content to what it was that I was talking about then. I mean, but so what? That's what they want. That may not be what happens, but you know, and quite frankly, those are the people who already know MC Light. I can do whatever kind of music for the people that aren't familiar with what it is that I did, you know,
That makes sense.
30 years ago. So no, I don't really encounter that too much. I think the biggest thing is me just being ready for wherever it is that I'm trying to go. So I'm not just showing up saying I want to do this different thing, but this different thing I have studied and I have gotten, my chops, spent my time, put my hours in learning that particular craft. And now here I'm showing up knowing what to do. I think at that point, it's like all you need is someone to like it and believe you and give you a chance. And then it's done.
Speaking about people wanting you to make certain songs or appear in certain ways that you used to. I got to ask you a question that's also related to time, growth, your art, where you've been, so on and so forth. I'm a LYTE fan. I'm not a journalist, so I don't have to worry about like people who are journalists can't say during conversations like, "Oh, I'm a fan." I'm not a journalist, so I can say I'm a fan. And I'm a LYTE fan, and the things when we get into conversations, the the discussions that I have about you are never the conversations that like people really sort of know. Like maybe people start with like, oh, paper thin, cha cha cha. Like they'll start there, but usually for them, it's like Roughneck and Georgie Porgy, and I don't have no problem with none of those records. I really do. I think that they're dope records, and I'm glad that you made them. Clearly, that's a flex with in the background with all of them plaques on the wall, and I'm not mad at that. That's what you're supposed to
Had to
do.
come from somewhere. Look.
I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But one of my favorite records, and this is personal. You have me by a couple of years, which is fine. But as a young man who at the time had a crush on MC Light, one of my favorite records, one of my favorite records is Too Young for What.
Mm. Mhm.
And I gotta ask you about the record. First of all,
Mhm.
I love the sample of Impeach the President along with
Mhm.
Groove With Me. Like that union musically for me is
Mhm.
nuts. Like Impeach the President is one of my favorite drum loops.
Mhm.
So to slow that down and then put Groove With Me over it was just nuts.
Yeah, that was
But
it was DJ Master T did that record.
I love that record.
Mm.
But so for me, I used to listen to that record and be like, yo, I might have a chance with Light,
Yeah.
bro. I might get it. I might get it. I'm
Right.
talking about as a teenager, I was
Yeah,
ready.
Mike could get it.
I was ready.
Mm.
Um, but all jokes aside,
Mhm.
you couldn't make that record in 2023. Like,
Uh,
like,
oh,
like those you couldn't make that record in 2023. Would you perform it now? Like, or would you be like,
it's a lot of records you couldn't do now that you could do then.
I know, but I'm saying like, my question is like, would you perform it or would you be like, nah, I'm not
Oh,
messing.
that's I don't think I've ever performed that song. It
Fair.
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't when I recorded it, I didn't even imagine performing it. It just, this
Mm,
is an
mm.
album track. This is, cool concept. But no, I never thought, oh, can't wait to get on stage and perform that. No. But the entire climate was changed. We've got,
Mm.
unfortunately, fortunately, but unfortunately, a Me Too movement that has taken on a life of its own, and men are being called to a higher standard now than 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I mean, everything was happening.
It was
Skeezers,
wide open. It was wide open.
like I remember being in the hotel with several male artists that we had, big tours, and there were women wrapped around the hallways to get to these guys. And what was happening, I was 17, 18 years old. What went on behind closed doors, I have no idea. But that's not something that can happen today.
Mm-hmm.
you know so we said a whole lot of things in 1980 whatever that just you can't say today.
from a gender space, was that record kind of like, you know what? Because you're right. At that time, had a dude made that record, it wouldn't have been nothing. Nobody would have said nothing. It wouldn't. No one would have thought about it.
Mhm.
Was there a little bit of like, you know what? I'm a female MC. I'm an MC first, and I'm also a female MC, and I'm gonna flip this dynamic because I can. Was there any thought process around that, or was it just like, yo, I want to make a fun record that I think would be a cool
Yeah,
concept?
yeah. I think for me, it was just making a fun record, but also, even from I Crammed to Understand You
Yeah.
and 10% Dis and Roughneck, and just all
Yeah.
throughout time, I've always said that I could do that too. Or
Hmm.
not only I can, but representative of many women who feel the same way. So I, in essence, with a lot of my rhymes, allowed the public, specifically men, to sit in to what women talk about. Even with Paper Thin, it's like, you know, what you say is just paper thin. You love me.
Right.
I'm not feeling that. I don't even know if I could trust you. So going through all of those things, I think is just representative of what a lot of young women, older women think about.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I want to know, because you have been in so many different spaces, a lot of your contemporaries, which I appreciate, still like Kane posted a video not too recently. I mean, not too long ago about he was somewhere just rocking, and like his pin game is ill. Still, his pin game is retarded. Still,
Yeah.
do you ever get the itch? Like, does that light ever get the itch? Not, I mean, I know you still are in your artistry, and I appreciate that. But does that light ever get the itch with your pen to just really get in it, or are you kind of like at
Yeah.
this transition?
Yeah. I mean, I think the last time I went at it was on the TV show that I, executive produce and co-create, and got a chance to do a little something there. But most of the time, my mind is not there where that light was. That's Brooklyn, New York. That's,
Absolutely.
trying to survive day in and day out, getting on the train, going to Manhattan, trying to make it back home. It's a whole nother way of living, and a whole nother way of surviving and trying to strive at the same time. So is it that light? I don't know. And I've seen, Kane go at it. As a matter of fact, he was a guest on the TV show where he did, somewhat of a freestyle. And yes, it's golden. Many of us who loved it then, we love it now. It's
Right.
just,
That's why I would think at some point it's hard not to. But
oh
I
yeah, I
also
don't walk around saying I'm not going to do that. It's just that there's 24 hours in a day. So where am I going to put the energy?
no,
Yeah.
it makes total sense to me, and I understand. I think the worst thing that happens, I think, is there's a thin line between wanting to engage that because it's just in you and you love it versus it not being authentic.
Yeah.
Because I talk to a lot of people about like, yo, I mean, I get it. I'm in Brooklyn now. I'm in Bed-Stuy now, but not you proverbially speaking, but just in the sense of any MC who's like been there and then done that and going somewhere else, you kind of look crazy rapping about the hood. Like we ain't seen you in 20
Yeah, but
years.
but
Like
but but Bed-Stuy ain't even the hood no more. Come on, stop playing.
it's not. That's real. No, that's real though. That's real.
Right.
The point
It's,
is you're in a different space
yeah,
and it's okay to be in a different space.
yeah.
And so to your point, it's like, I get it. The idea of you being on that frequency is like, how would you even get there? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like when your mind is in a totally different realm.
not that, and there is there is throughout the years a certain amount of responsibility and accountability that come with, right? And so
Sure.
that's why record labels, production companies, everybody likes to get them young. You'll say anything. Anything that's
Mm,
on your mind, you'll say it. No filter, you know, not really understanding that you're not just rocking for the block, but you're rocking for the entire world. Now more so than ever, because at the push of a button, the what you say will be transmitted to the universe. And so with that, are there times where I'm like, oh, yeah, but then you think about, okay, what sort of message is this sending right now? Like, are there things that I have something to say about? Sure. How can I get those things out now? Oh, I've got a TV show. I've got these characters here. How can I pose this particular topic and have many views presented and represented on the TV show? Yeah, this is cool. Okay, I found another way to communicate what it is that I feel and another way to get a message out.
you have a feeling responsibility to like holler at younger artists and be like, yo, listen, understand the game, understand what's happening right now. You're being put in this position because they understand that you will sort of get out here and do whatever, but you're gonna reach a point where you may regret that, or you're gonna reach a point where you may want to do something different, and the choices you make now might impact that, or do you just sort of allow them to sort of grow and find that out as they move through the space or seek you out rather?
Right. Well, let me just say this. There is a natural rhythm to who it is that you even come into contact with.
That's
Um,
real.
and I'm always one to share. I hear to this day people who tell me, "Oh, you told me this, when I first, performed at so and so. Oh, you shared that with me over there." So I'm always imparting whatever it is I can to help. It's whether or not they're open enough to receive and take it and use it, and that they make it mean something for them. It only matters if not only do they hear it, but that they listen and heed, and hopefully it can benefit. The information that I have can benefit, because there's so much that we as the generation who came before can teach, just like I can learn from those who came before me, which is why I not only extend an olive branch back, but I'm also holding on to the branches that came before, with Curtis Blow, KRS-One, Chuck D, all of us who have, Hip Hop Alliance, which I serve as a member and as vice chair. Those are the moments that we all want to be able to give this information, these gems, jewels, to this younger generation, but they have to be open and willing to learn. And I'm always talking to Rhapsody and Tierra Whack and Lady London, and these are some of the younger Mama Soul. uh, um, there's
All the
yeah, there's
all
so
crazy pin games, every one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many of them, and we kind of, we're cut from the same cloth, so we kind of gravitate towards one another. Is there
Makes sense.
something I'd like to say to someone else or anyone else? Sure, it just has to be the right time. And I most recently did an interview with Lotto for, I think it was Billboard magazine, or forgive me if it wasn't. I can't remember now. But it was great to meet her, and we had a chance to dialogue over a couple of different issues. But it's just the space, having the space to do so.
Yeah. Listen, there's so much that I could talk to you about. The challenge with you is that you've done like I said, like a billion interviews, and so I do not want to talk about everything that you always get asked. But I do have one last question though before we get out of here.
Yes, sir.
This is a fun one. So me and my friends play life or death karaoke, and that is like, yo, because people are good at karaoke. Some people are really good at
hmm
karaoke, but when it comes to hip hop, some people like they get out of 16 bars, they might get 12 right.
Right.
So we up the stakes. Like it's life or death karaoke. Like if you got 3 verses, you don't even have to do full songs. 3 hip-hop verses that are not yours. They're not
Mm-hmm.
yours. That you have to get every word
Mm-hmm.
right. What are the 3? Either you can do full songs or just verses. What do you got?
Mm.
Life or death karaoke, MC LYTE.
Probably Eric B for president. That
Okay,
first verse.
that's a good one.
First verse of Lottie Dottie.
Okay, I actually knew Lottie Dottie was going to come up for you. Like I knew that one was coming. It was either going
Yeah.
to be that or uh uh something by Slick Rick. I was like, it's either gonna be Lottie Dottie or something else by Slick Rick. Something off the Adventures of Slick
Yeah,
Rick.
yeah.
I knew
I
it.
mean, children's story, Mona Lisa.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be Lottie Dottie or Mona Lisa. That's what I thought it
Yeah,
was gonna be.
Slick.
Give me one more.
Slick Rick
One
is
more.
it. I could probably do a verse from South Bronx, KRS One.
I'm a Queens dude, so
And
that
then
might
I
be
could probably do the original Queensbridge. The bridge is over. I could probably
hard.
rock that. Yeah, it's I mean UTFO, a rapper's delight. I mean, who doesn't know rapper's delight from my
A
era?
lot of people get that wrong though. Mad people get that wrong because it. First of all, it depends on what version because it's mad
Yeah,
versions
it
of
is
it,
Mad Virgins. You wrote
and so and then like after the first like 6 to 8 bars, people kind of fall off a little bit.
about. Yeah.
Another one that people sort of start strong but can't finish is sucker MCs. People mess that up all
Oh,
the time.
I know the exact line because I mess up on it too because it's unclear.
It
It
is.
is
I know
unclear.
exactly.
So
It is
I'm all
unclear.
about that diction. Look, I'd be in real trouble if somebody cut that short.
I know. I'm not gonna do
Okay,
you like
thank you.
that. I'm not gonna do you like that
Yeah, all about the pronunciation.
there you go. I ain't gonna do you like
Okay.
that for likes. I'm not gonna do you like that. Listen, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on the Charles Coleman podcast
Thank
for our
you.
Black Brother Conversations. This has been an amazing one with the one, the only MC Lights,
Thank you.
who has been in the house. Make sure you are following her. Make sure you are watching. Make sure you are liking. Make sure you are just plugged into the light source because that's what it is. Peace.